Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Tonight we are on Module 1, Lesson 14, and we're going to continue working on division. So our directions say, use the read, draw, write process to solve each problem. So I'm going to do the first one for you. It says a school activity has 301 students split into 43 equal size groups. How many students are in each group? Okay, so this is definitely a division problem because they have a total of 301 students and they've taken those students and divided them into groups. So my equation is 301 divided into 43 groups. So I want to start by estimating what I think that is. So 301 divided by 43, I might say that this is, we could say 300, and I could say this is about 50. So if it's division, I know I can, if they both have a zero, I can take off zeros, as long as I take off equal zeros between the divisor and dividend. So I'm left with 30 divided by 5 equals 6. Another way I might have estimated was maybe I changed the 301 to 280 and I left this 43 into the 40s and made it 40. So there's not always a right way for estimating, it's different ways to see it, but knowing my times tables definitely helps because I know that 4 times 7 equals 28. So that helped me choose those numbers. So again, I can cross off my zeros and I know 28 divided by 4 is 7. So even though I have different estimates, they're very close. Okay, so now I have an idea of what it's going to be. So I could go straight to my tape diagram, but before I do my tape diagram, I might want to check these to see which one works. So I might want to see. So I'm going to first see if I have 6 groups of 43, what would that be? So let me see. 6 groups of 43. Well, 6 times 3 is 18. 6 times 4 is 24 plus 1 is 258. So if I made 6 groups of 43, that would only use up 258 students. So let's check and see if the 7 works better. So if I have 7 groups of 43, 7 times 3 is 21. 7 times 4 is 28 plus 2 is 30. So 7 worked. This one works. So I know that if I have 301 students, I can make 7 groups of 43. So what does that look like using our tape diagram? Well, that means that if I had a total of 301 students, I could make a total of 7 groups, each with 43, and there would be none left over because 7 times 43 is 301. So there'll be no students left over. Okay, what does this look like using more of the standard algorithm though? Well, I would put the 301, which is my dividend, inside. I would put my divisor, which is how many are going to be in each group, outside. And then my quotient is I was able to make, using 301, I was able to make 7 groups of 43. So the 7 would go right there. And 7 groups of 43 is 301 with no remainders. So my quotient is 7. I have no remainders. And if I want to check this, I know that 7 groups of 43, I could say plus 0 with no remainders. Some of you chose to do that and some don't. It's up to what you feel comfortable with. But 7 groups of 43 with no remainders equals 301. And I know that's true because I already solved this right there. I already checked it right there. Okay, so let's try the next one together. So let's try the next one together. I'm going to turn my page. And we have another word problem. So this one says that Eddie has 34 days to read a 170-page book. If he reads the same number of pages each day, how many pages does he need to read each day to finish the book in 34 days? Okay, so he's going to take his book, 170 pages, and he's going to divide it into 34 days. So again, it's clearly a division problem. So 170 divided by 34. Okay, and again, knowing my times tables really helps because I know that if I round that to 180 and I round this to 30, I know that 3 and 18 work well together. So 18 divided by 3 is 6. So I think I'm going to be able to do 6 pages a day. I think if Eddie does 6 pages a day, he'll be able to read his book. So let's check that. So I'm going to say 34 days at 6 pages each. Let's see how many pages he's able to read. Well, 6 times 4 is 24. 6 times 3 is 18, plus 2 is, that's 204. So that's too large. If Eddie read 6 pages a day for 34 days, he'd read 204 pages. So my estimate was too much. He doesn't need to read that many pages a day. This is too large. This is the number I was dividing, and this is what I ended up with. So I'm going to try something smaller. So if 6 was too large, let's try 5. 5 times 4 is 20. 5 times 3 is 15, plus 2 is 17. So my answer is 170 pages if he does 5 pages each of the 34 days. So 5 was my answer. This is my quotient that works. So for my tape diagram, that means that Eddie is going to take 170 and we're going to divide Now this one doesn't work so great with the word problem because I have 5 groups of 34, but that's just saying that we also know that he's going to have to read 5 pages each day. So the tape diagram I don't really love for this, but it does work for our division problem. So we're going to have 5 groups of 34, which means really for the story problem though, he needs to read 5 pages each day. Okay, so let's check this using the standard algorithm though. So if I have 170 pages is my dividend, so it goes inside. 34 days to read it is my divisor. And then we already know that our quotient was 5. So 5 groups of 34 equals 170 with no remainder. And if we want to check that, we can say 5 groups of 34 with no remainder should equal our dividend, should equal what we were trying to divide. And it does, and I already had checked it right there. So that's a good way to check it. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen, I just realized that had been scoot down too far. So here is my algorithm right here. And this is going to be our goal, to start working towards this. Because the tape diagram's not going to work with all the story problems and as the numbers get larger. Okay, let's do one more together. Okay, our problem this time says, Miss Baker needs to order 546 pencils. Each pack has 72 pencils. What is the fewest number of packs Miss Baker should order? Okay. So we have 546 pencils, okay, and they're going to be divided into packages of 72. So again, we want to estimate first. So maybe for this one we could say, I might change this to 560 and leave that at 70. Again, because knowing my times table facts helps me. So I know that 56 divided by 7 is 8. Or I might have changed this to 540 and changed this one to 60. And 54 divided by 6 is 9. So I think my answer is going to be somewhere around 8 or 9. So let's actually check them. Okay, so I'm going to check 8 first. So if I made 8 packs, if she bought 72 pencils are in a pack and she bought 8 packs, see how many pencils she'd end up with. 8 times 2 is 16, and we add a 1 there, carry our 1. 8 times 7 is 56 plus 1 is 57. So if she orders 8 packs of 72 pencils each, she's going to end up with 576 pencils, which that is too small. That's too many. She'll end up with too many pencils. So let's try a smaller number. So 72 times 7 packs of pencils. Let's see, 7 times 2 is 14. 7 times 7 is 49 plus 1 is 504. Okay, so this is a little bit tricky. So let's move that up so you can see that better. And let's look at the actual division algorithm for this one after we look at the tape diagram. So she needs 546 pencils. And we know that she can have 7 packs of 72. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So there's my 7 packs of 72. But that's only going to add up to be 504. And we have 546. So I am missing 42 pencils. So we need one more group with 42. Okay, so this is how what my tape diagram would look like. 7 groups of 72 and 1 of 42. And this is what my algorithm would look like. 546 divided into packs of 72. And we said we're going to have 7 groups of 72. And we already said down up here that 7 groups of 72. 7 groups of 72 is 504. So I have a remainder of 42. Remainder 42. Okay, so my quotient is 7. My remainder is 42. And if we wanted to check this, we'd have 7 times 72. So 7 groups of 72 plus my remainder should equal 546. Now I've already figured out what 7 times 72 is up here. Up here we said it's 504. So 504 plus 42 should equal 546. And we could check that. We could do some side work and check that. Or I could say 500 plus 40 is 540 plus 4 plus 2. So I do know it equals that. So that's a good way to check it. But let's go back to our actual word problem now. So what is our actual answer for this word problem? Because I know the division answer, but that's not what the word problem asked me. The word problem said, what is the fewest number of packs Miss Baker should order if she wants to get 546 pencils? Well, even though my answer is 7 remainder 42, that doesn't tell me how many packs of pencils she should order. So if she orders 7 pencils, 7 packs of pencils, look what she's going to end up with. She's going to end up with 504. When it says remainder here of 42, it means for this story problem, she's going to be left short with 42. Because after she buys the 7 packs of pencils, she's only going to have 504 of them. So the remainder here is saying how many she's going to be left short or remaining that she's missing for this story problem. So buying 7 packs would not be enough for her. So Miss Baker actually for this story problem needs to buy 8 packages. That would be the answer for this story problem. Okay, so even when we do the division, ladies and gentlemen, we have to go back and ask what the story is asking us and make sure we answer the story problem. All right, have a wonderful evening. Good night.